You're watching OTB TV.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning after yet another big Saturday along the Derby Trail, the third of three big weeks of, final Derby preps. And so pretty much the Derby field is kind of set. Obviously, there are things that can change over the next couple of weeks. And also, there were two or three horses, I want to say, because I saw the entries for the Lexington, and there are some minor points awarded, but enough for two or three of those, not all, but one of those two or three to maybe leapfrog into the field points-wise. So that still has to be determined, the Lexington results. But otherwise, we have the field or the top 20-point earners, and then, another group just below who have the potential to move up should things shake out in that direction. But again, this last Saturday of racing on the Derby prep trail, for the most part, as I say, except for the Lexington, has kind of settled things. And now we decide. And Sierra Leone looked pretty good yesterday, and I think is going to attract a lot of attention after the big performance by Fierceness. You would think those two will be the ones to attract attention. But again, it has been tough, the Derby trail season, for horses to put two together. Sierra Leone did it yesterday, but that come from behind style gets a lot tougher in a 20-horse Derby field. So it's going to be interesting. The discussion over the next few weeks be interesting to see how people are shaking things out and what direction they're going. But let's take a look at some of the action from yesterday. Again, on the 3-year-old scene and beyond, as is typical on these big days, nice undercard stakes that'll play into other divisions as the year plays along as well. But we'll kick things off yesterday at Aqueduct in the Wood. It is going to be number 1, Resilience, getting it done. Number 11, Society Man for Danny Garkin at 106-1, runs second. And Protective, who I thought was a little bit interesting, for Todd Pletcher at 38-1, runs third in here. But it was a nice performance from Resilience. Chart margin is 2 1/4. Winds up with a nice 90 buyer figure. The buyer numbers have progressed in each of the first 6 starts of the career. That was a nice performance. Danny Gargan comes out of this with Society Man, the big price second place finisher, feeling like, maybe I have another Derby horse besides Dornoch. So we'll see what goes forward for Society Man. And as I say, Protective is one I thought was a little bit interesting at a price. That was only the third career start for Protective. We'll see what they do with him going forward. Obviously, the disappointment yesterday was Deterministic, who was 2 for 2, including the win in the Gotham. And Deterministic yesterday went off as the 4-5 favorite, winds up 8th in the field of 12. Christophe Clement came out saying, obviously this something was not right. We'll reassess and kind of decide where to go moving forward. I took a little pop with Tuscan Sky, the Pletcher runner who had looked pretty good in the first couple of starts, 2 for 2 coming in. Tuscan Sky, when I was the second, 5-2, took a little more action than I was anticipating, but winds up 7th in there. But again, it was only the third career start, first in the stakes, so a little too early to decide on Tuscan Sky and what maybe the potential for that one going forward. There was a spill in the race. It was in the stretch. We picked it up after that rather than review that situation. It was the rank outsider in the field at 157-1. Kind of looked like he clipped heels. Deposition, Dexter Haddock on board. Reported last night, and I've seen kind of follow-ups this morning. I don't know how official, but horse and jockey were okay afterwards, which is good news. So Resilience, though, gets it done. Career victory number 2 and career start number 6. Had looked pretty good in the first 4 starts. And as I say, the buyer numbers were progressing nicely in those 4 starts. Took the 4 starts to break the maiden. They go right from the maiden breaker into the Risen Star and finished 4th in the Risen Star behind Sierra Leone, Track Phantom, and Catching Freedom. And there was a lot of buzz. Can't disagree with it. There was a lot of buzz last night that maybe the best race of the entire prep season was that Risen Star. Catching Freedom back to win, Sierra Leone back to win, Resilience back to win. There was, it was a tough trip in the Risen Star. John Velasquez is on board that day, came back and told the connections, you know what, maybe put on some blinkers. Blinkers go on subsequently. According to Bill Mott, the horse seemed to appreciate and improve with the blinkers in the morning, clearly improved with the blinkers in the afternoon yesterday. Nice win in the Wood. A 90 buyer, as I say, a continued progression buyer-wise. And I think he's interesting going forward. It just seems like a horse who's gotten better and better and better. And now the last 3 starts and with the equipment change seem to absolutely improve and move forward. El Grande O was a late scratch. The Linda Rice New York bred. A nice little New York bred who had faced New York bred company successfully in New York bred stakes, but had stepped out into open company this year. Jerome, Withers, and Gotham, second, and third. Dave Grenig reported that Linda Rice said a little bit afterwards, and a late scratch was on the track when the horse was a vet scratch. And said Dylan Davis said the horse was warming up okay, and then just kind of seemed to go wrong in one of the legs. And so it just went lame in one of the legs, was not traveling as you would want to into a race. So it was a late scratch. So we'll keep our eyes on the situation with El Grande. As I say, a nice little New York bred, over $400,000 in 11 starts for Barry Schwartz and Linda Rice. So there's your situation in the Wood. And as I say, I think Resilience becomes an interesting player as kind of a horse, moving forward at the right time, perhaps, and with the equipment change making what seems to be a difference. We shall see, but it was a nice performance. Also yesterday on the Aqueduct card was the Bayshore. These were 3-year-olds sprinting. There is now that subdivision of 3-year-olds sprinting. Sometimes at this point in the season with lightly raced horses, you don't know whether that's going to be their game plan going forward or this is just a logical spot. I think that might be the case for the winner in here. Relatively lightly raced for Chad Brown and Klarovich. The winner is going to be number 6, A Reasoned Analysis. Running second was Maximus Meridius, and then Eliminate runs third. The favorite in here was Proprietary Trade, who was also going out for Chad and Klarovich. That one was 2-1, wound up 7th in here. So it is the other Chad Brown getting it done. Reasoned Analysis at 15-1, $33, and makes it look pretty easy. Wins by 3 1/4 lengths with a nice closing kick here over Maximus Meridius, who looked pretty good turning it to the stretch in about the 8th ball, but then Reasoned Analysis gets the momentum going and goes on by 124.35. So it wasn't a blazing fast 7 furlongs. Buyer was an 83. And that was a nice improvement for Reasoned Analysis. Reasoned Analysis in the seasonal debut this year broke the maiden at a mile with a 73 buyer, which at that point was the lifetime best. So a nice jump forward in the second start of the 3-year-old season. Only 4 starts now, a couple of wins, including a nice little stakes win for the Chad Klarovich runner. We'll see what this one has going forward. As I say, and I didn't see any quotes, so I don't know whether going forward. They had tried a 1.125 last year in December. The maiden breaker was at 1 mile, but at Aqueduct, that's a 1-turn mile. So I don't know what their game plan will be going forward and being lightly raced. I think they still have the potential to kind of play around and pick their spots and see. But it was again, nice win yesterday for that one in the undercard 3-year-old sprint, which, as I've said many times now on these big 3-year-old days, there tends to be that subdivision of 3-year-old sprinters. There will also be, the Woody Stevens Belmont Stakes weekend and whatnot. So that was the version yesterday. And again, it was a nice performance from the Chad Brown runner. Eric Consell on board for the win. And again, a generous $30 plus for a Chad Klarovich runner. The Gazelle, again, on these big 3-year-old days, we typically have a race for the 3-year-old fillies, the 3-year-old boys in the wood, the 3-year-old fillies in the Gazelle. I liked Where's My Ring, and the betting public did as well at 5-2, and everybody wound up happy in that camp. Where's My Ring does get it done. Jose Lescano on board pretty easily in here. Number 1 horse, Regulatory Risk, for Chad and Klarovich, runs second at 19-1. And you can see here for a while, it's a ding-dong battle. The chart margin winds up to be 4.25, and then 5.25 from second to third. Running third was Jin Jin. But it was a nice win here as the favorite, $7 and change. But again, nice little price on the Chad Klarovich horse that completed the exacta. So you wind up with $66 for the exacta. That's nice. But Where's My Ring came in from Southern California. Going back, I'm trying to think, 10 years maybe too long, but certainly the last 5. California shippers, when they come to New York, always attract my attention now. And this one had run very well in Southern California. You pull out the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, which was kind of a dud. And other than that, the horse was running well, including a second to Kinza. We'll see Kinza later. Kinza, again, we'll see what that one does later. But at this point, the Santa Isabel was certainly a good-looking 3-year-old filly, and still a good-looking 3-year-old filly, but did, as I say, we'll look from yesterday. But the second to that one kind of touts Where's My Ring as one to watch yesterday. She clearly got it done with a 90 buyer, which was a lifetime best buyer for her. So we'll see what they have planned. You would think Kentucky Oaks would be on the radar. And again, I didn't see a follow-up to that one, but I would think that would be the game plan off a nice 1 1/8 victory with a 90 buyer coming east. So we will watch that one on Derby weekend, perhaps the Friday before the first Saturday in May. Also on the card yesterday was the Distaff, and continuing a nice day for Chad Brown. The Distaff yesterday was won by Shitabuti, coming off a poor performance in the Monmouth Oaks. But as you might guess, the Monmouth Oaks, it was last July. So kind of took off the last portion of the 3-year-old season. This was the 4-year-old debut. And because of that layoff, I was a little bit reluctant to use the horse as well. So I don't blame the betting public for kind of letting this one sneak away. A Chad Brown runner at 8-1. But Shitabuti, the number 6 horse, does get it done. Ain't Broke, the 2 runs second. Fingal's Cave runs third. The favorite, Hot Fudge, the 4 horse, at 6-5, last in the field of 5. But again, the winner in here, Shitabuti, $19, and does it with a nice stretch battle, winds up running first by half a length over Ain't Broke. Dylan Davis on board, continuing what has been a great winter season for Dylan down in New York. And as you can see, going to keep going. and get it done in a nice stretch run by half a length, and they're well clear of the third place finisher in the field of 5. Buyer there was a solid 88. And I'm just, that was clearly the best. And indicating, and I've talked about it before, lately raced 2-year-olds, lately raced 3-year-olds. They get some time off, they can come back and improve. That may be the case for the winner yesterday. Came in with 6 starts. That's relatively lightly raced, obviously, for a horse now starting the 4-year-old season, and starts the 4-year-old season with a lifetime best buyer by a solid, it had a 79 before. So that's a pretty good jump. I would think Does Signal comes back as an improved 4-year-old. We'll look at one more from yesterday. It was the Carter. I said it yesterday. They put up $300,000 and get a field of 5, and then a scratch, a field of 4. Yeesh. I took a little shot with Whittington Park, who was kind of in the mix through much of the race. But I said, and then after the scratch, and the scratch is down to a field of 4, I said, you know what? The number 4 Super Chow may just have the pace advantage in here. Might take the lead and just be tough to reel in. And for a while, it looked like that might be the case. And then things kind of blew up a little bit, and Castle Chaos, who was the rank outsider at 8-1 in the field of 4, made a move. But Post Time, who did go off as the 4-5 favorite, I wasn't totally convinced coming up from Laurel, but this is a Brittany Russell runner who has run very well, 7 victories and 8 career starts. So I took a little pop against with Whittington Park, but it's a late run that just proves Post Time is a nice little 4-year-old sprinter for Brittany Russell. Post Time, the number 3 horse here. Brittany's husband, Sheldon Russell, on board as he has been for much of the career of Post Time. Post Time, the number 3, and you can see Castle Chaos up the rail, and a little bit of an upset from Castle Chaos perhaps, but no, keep it coming, keep coming, keep coming, and it will be, as they get to the wire chart margin, a neck for Post Time. A 91 buyer, that's a little bit of a regression, was coming in off a couple of triple digits down at Laurel, had won the Jennings, had won the General George with 104, 103 buyer, 91, but I'm sure they were perfectly happy with the number. As I saw Brittany Russell tweet out, hey, Posty gets it done. So I'm guessing that is the barn nickname for Post Time. And they have a nice one. This one I'll be interested to see what the game plan is going forward, because most, Brittany Russell, based down in Maryland, most of the starts in the career have been at Laurel. Coming into yesterday, 8 starts, 6 of those were at Laurel. But they went over to Pimlico and tried an optional claimer there last September and got that done. And then they tried the Perryville at Keeneland, ran 3rd in there. So they've stepped it up and moved the horse around, and they did it again yesterday in New York for $300,000 in a grade 2. I'll be interested to see what kind of spots they pick going forward, because this is clearly a talented sprinter. Post Time yesterday for Brittany Russell, with husband Sheldon on board in the Carter with, again, a 91 buyer. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention and take a look at the action. Actually, the last couple of days at Keeneland, because there were some Friday stakes at Keeneland as well. But we'll certainly kick things off taking a look at the card yesterday at Keeneland, which included the Bluegrass. All of that right after this. Stay tuned. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer: wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back. All right, let's shift our attention to Keeneland yesterday. The Bluegrass, the highlight of their card yesterday. And I took a little shot with BU because I said, nobody has strung two together. Sierra Leone has the chance to do that, probably the one to beat. I'll tell you, coming out of the gate, going into the gate, coming out of the gate, going down the back stretch, I thought, it's been tough to close the first couple of days at Keeneland. And Sierra Leone kind of went right to the back of the pack and was sitting there down the back stretch. And I thought, it's going to be a little too much to do. But no. And so playing against what seemed to be the bias at Keeneland the first couple of days and just running a very big – now, I haven't seen buyers yet for the Keeneland races, but Sierra Leone did get it done nicely with a nice late run, was the favorite in there at 8-5. Just a touch, lightly raced runner for Brad Cox runs second. That could be one to watch going forward. Epic Ride third. Dornock, who they tried to rate, ran fourth, but has points for the Derby. BU, the horse I took a little shot with, ran eighth in here, so a little bit of a disappointment there. But again, you can see number 10, Sierra Leone, gets that late run and winds up winning by a length and a half in a nice performance. Tyler Gaffleone, after the race, said he was kind of happy with the trip the entire way around. And he now comes in, Sierra Leone comes in as really the only horse, I think, during this prep season who has strung a couple together. He was a nice winner and a good-looking winner of the Risen Star at the fairgrounds, and then puts the Bluegrass together. Fierceness looked great last time, looked fabulous, but he didn't string two together because his prior race was that disappointing third-place finish. So Sierra Leone really the only one on the trail who has kind of gone back-to-back. Now, can he go back-to-back-to-back in this kind of a season? I don't know. And also, as I said earlier, given the style of coming from back, it's a tough ask in the Derby with 20 horses, but clearly very, very talented. They paid $2.3 million for this horse. Notably, August of 2022, right up the Northway. It's Saratoga facing Tipton. So a little feather in the cap of our local yearling sale. Sierra Leone, Peter Brandt, Mrs. John Magner, Tayburn Company. So some prominent owners there. Certainly, Chad Brown trained, Tyler Gaffleone on board. As I say, I haven't seen the buyers. Going to be interested to see that. It was a 150.08 mile and an eighth, so not blazing by any means, but legit. And as I say, be interested to see the number because it is a legit final time there for this bunch of 3-year-olds, certainly. Now, I will note, and I kind of alluded to it earlier when I said, got away a little slowly, went to the back of the pack, and even before that, there were some gate antics for this one. The crew had a real time getting Sierra Leone into the gate. After the race, Tyler Gaffleone said it, and Chad Brown then said it, but I think he was kind of quoting Tyler Gaffleone. Tyler kind of felt it's Keeneland, and it's a Saturday at Keeneland. There was a big crowd. He's the outside. He's the last one to load. He's the outside post position. And Tyler thought, there was a little bit of a reaction to the big crowd, and Tyler said it's great that the crowd's here and whatnot, but he reacted a little bit. Chad Brown said they'll work on it, they'll school him. He didn't think that was going to be a problem, but certainly some people, when you read Twitter last night, thought, Kentucky Derby with 100,000 people, how's he going to react there? again, it took a while to get in the gate. It's not something you'll like to see. I don't know if I like Sierra Leone, if I would jump off because of that, because I think the talent has the potential to overcome that. And again, Chad said they'll work on it. I would think they'll be okay. Chad Brown, third Bluegrass win. If you go back to the last couple, and those horses going on to the Derby, 2022, Zandon Bluegrass, and then runs third in the Derby. And going back to 2018, Good Magic comes out of the Bluegrass and runs second in the Derby. And Chad kind of said that he thought this may be the best of the bunch. So, with a second and a third, if this is the best of the bunch, we'll see what the future holds, so to speak, for Sierra Leone. But again, he's going to go in attracting plenty of attention along with fierceness. You would think those are the two that are going to get the majority of the and deservedly so. I mean, they're clearly two very, very talented horses. But as I say, it's been tough for horses this Derby's prep season to string two together. Can these horses now do it? Sierra Leone string three together, Fierceness string a couple together. How's he going to play out pace-wise and whatnot? And it's interesting, they're on the opposite side of the pace scenario. So, again, the conversation the next few weeks is going to be very interesting, and we hope everything holds together because it looks like it's shaping up to be a very, very intriguing field. All right, the Shakertown yesterday, 5.5 on the turf. I was looking for kind of a replay of the Silks run from Gulfstream back on March 9th, where Panther Island and Coppola were kind of right there. I used Panther Island. Panther Island goes off at 13-1, runs 6th. Coppola, who won that Silks run, runs 9th yesterday. Horse I had right behind them, though, that one gets it done. The Mike Trombetta trained Arzak went off with the second. Yeah, it's 7-2, the second choice. Gets it done over Mischief Magic. Mischief Magic's the number 3 horse at 2-1. Iman at 21-1 runs third, the 1 horse. But again, it's number 6, Arzak. Irad Ortiz on board, getting it done. They eventually chart margin winds up to be a length. Close ding-dong battle here for second and third. But at $9.24, it is the Mike Trombetta runner. Hadn't been seen since trying the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint last November, but the race just prior to that won a stake here sprinting on the grass at Keeneland last October. So already had a little experience over the track, little successful experience over the track. And again, the betting public making that one the second choice. Iman, the favorite, was coming in off a couple of good races down at Gulfstream. This was the third start back this season. And again, took the action. Iman ran third at 21-1, coming off the 2 starts down at Gulfstream. The Mischief Magic was the horse that ran second as the choice at 2-1. Mischief Magic, Charles Appleby, runner for Godolphin. I didn't use Mischief Magic, and it's Godolphin, it's Charlie Appleby, but who has been successful coming over here the past couple of years. It was more a couple of years ago, but you look at his runners. I'm just not convinced on the Europeans when they come over here and sprint on the turf so much. That said, this horse a couple of years ago right here at Keeneland who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. But that's kind of why I shied away a little bit. The betting public not as shy as me, making that one the 2-1 favorite. Ran well to be second in there, the Charlie Appleby runner under Tyler Gaffleon. But the winner, Arzak, Irad Ortiz, and Mike Trombetta. Also on the card, part of that all stakes pick 5 yesterday at Keeneland. It was the Madison for the Fillies and Mares going 7. I had Red Carpet Ready on top. Ran okay. Ran a decent little third at 9-2. I thought Vava was interesting. Put that one right underneath. West Point Thoroughbreds, part of the ownership group there, and she has done very well for them. Hadn't been seen since winning a stake here at Keeneland last October. So Vava was coming back off a little bit of a layoff and runs a decent little second. But Alva Star, I put that one down the 4 slot, but certainly a deserved look was warranted for Alva Star with 7 exacta finishes and 7 starts so far in the career for trainer Brett Brinkman. Tyler Gaffleone was on board, and the betting public knew better and made that one the 2-1 choice. Alva Star is going to be the number 6 horse here. And again, this is start number 8, win number 5 for Alva Star. Vava is going to be the number 8 horse. And again, it was a nice effort off the layoff for Vava. And Red Carpet Ready, the horse I did like, running 3rd. But again, a nice little battle here between Alva Star and Vava. Winds up to be half a length when they eventually come under the wire. Vava's coming, but just a little too late to get to Alva Star. And again, it's going to be interesting to see, this subdivision of the lady sprinters, as it were. Be interesting to watch these two going forward because, both of them are, I would say, relatively lightly raced. They're 4-year-olds with 8 and 11 starts. And they've been both been very productive throughout the career and then put on a nice little show yesterday as well in the Madison. Alva Star over Vava. Second start of the season for Alva Star. It was the seasonal debut for Vava, both now 4-year-olds. So as I say, be interesting to see. It wouldn't shock me to see those two sprinting up in Saratoga this summer. We can hope for that because they're clearly very talented and can put on a show. So we will keep our fingers crossed for that matchup to appear this summer. Also on the agenda in that all-stakes pick 5 at Keeneland, the Appalachian, a mile on the grass. Had Howard Kravitz on yesterday, and as we were talking, he mentioned Bochu. I'm forgetting how Kurt Becker pronounced it. And as he talked about it, I said, I'm glad you brought that one up because trained by Phil Bauer. And Phil Bauer had a decent little opening day. And it looked like that might bode well going into the meet. And now has had a couple of good days to kick things off. So keep your eyes on Phil Bauer down there. We had him sit in with us last summer, a couple summers ago, up at Saratoga. But it is Boku, the number 9 horse, getting it done. 6-1, 58-1. Mo Fox Given, the number 8, runs second. And Dancing and Dixie, the number 3 at 10-1, runs third. I like Pounce in here. Wow. Pounce as the 5-2 favorite was up in the mix early, wound up 11th in the field of 12. So I will follow up on Pounce and see what the situation is. But again, it's a nice run here for the winner. The other two, there were some strides where you thought, maybe they get the momentum going and they're able to catch up, but they were not. But this is an interesting now newly turned 3-year-old and perhaps improved. Again, I haven't seen the buyers for Keeneland, but it wouldn't shock me if this was an improved effort and a nice little 3-year-old filly on the turf to watch going forward for Phil Bauer. She had a nice career as a 2-year-old last year. Wound up the season running 6th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf, but the comeback to start the 4-year-old season yesterday looked very good. So we'll keep our eyes on her again in that subdivision of the 3-year-old fillies on the turf. And again, another one I wouldn't be shocked to see up at Saratoga, certainly. But a nice win yesterday in the Appalachian there. And we kicked off the stakes action at all stakes pick 5 at Keeneland in the Commonwealth. And I felt like, I'm kicking off this sequence in fine fashion. Again, I had Howard Kravitz on yesterday, host of the HHH Racing podcast, and we went over the sequence. And we had a meeting of the minds here. We both like Bo Cruz. And subsequently, as I was sitting in here and reading things and looking on Twitter, social media, and then hearing people talk, and I'm thinking Gabby and or Scott Hazelton maybe as well in the pregame. Bo Cruz seemed to be getting a little bit of attention. 12-1 on the morning line, and so I thought, I don't know if we're going to get that. We did cut the price in half, went from 12-1 to 6-1. But I thought the horse was intriguing. Had a nice little 3-year-old campaign last year. Came back in the 4-year-old debut, and at 1.70 miles, I thought ran very well for Al Stahl. Was cutting back to the 7 yesterday. I thought the horse was interesting. Again, hoping for the 12-1, didn't get it, but $14 and change was okay. It is going to be Bo Cruz getting it done, the number 6 horse. Minnesota Ready, the number 9. I had that one right underneath, so it was a nice little cold exact for me. As I say, I thought I was going to start the sequence off nice, and I did start the sequence off nicely. I was just hoping it was going to continue. Didn't quite, but it was a good start. Wicco, the number 2, runs third for Wesley Ward. But again, pretty clear winner here. Nice looking sprinter, 4-year-old sprinter now for Al Stahl. And I would think potentially we see this one up at Saratoga being Al Stahl training. Although there's plenty of racing in between as well. But Bo Cruz, I think, set for a nice little 4-year-old campaign, you would have to think, having shown some talent already, but this seemed like an improved effort in the second start of the 4-year-old season. Again, off the good seasonal debut at 1.70 miles down at the fairgrounds, and the cutback was intriguing yesterday at Keeneland. Looking good, Bo Cruz getting it done at the 7 furlong trip. And most of the races have been over a mile for this horse. It will be interesting to see. I would think they with a race like that, they would look more towards the sprint side of things, but we'll see what is the case going forward for that one. All right, as I said, going to look at a couple of days of action at Keeneland because they had a nice Friday set of stakes as well. And the Friday stakes were highlighted by the 3-year-old girls. And again, I said normally on these big days for the 3-year-old boys, you have the 3-year-old girls as well. Derby preps and Oaks preps. Well, this weekend at Keeneland, the boys were Friday. The boys were Saturday. The girls were Friday. In the Ashland Grade 1 event, $600,000 up for grabs. Impel was the horse that was attracting attention, it seemed like, as I heard handicappers and people discuss the race. But Candied went off as the favorite. And I'm trying to think, maybe David Aragona on Twitter, somebody on Twitter said, oh, I'm kind of shocked that that one's the favorite. I was kind of shocked as well. I mean, Candied showed a lot of promise last year, ran third at 5-2 behind Just FYI in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly. Just FYI, going off at 9-2 wasn't shocking to me. This horse hadn't been seen since winning that Breeders' Cup race. And this is kind of a belated start to the 3-year-old season after having been entered before. And there was a thought to enter at Oaklawn, last week or 2 weeks ago. So there were some hiccups getting this one back. And so I get it why Just FYI was a little bit overlooked at 9-2. But again, Candied as the 8-5 favorite was a little bit surprising. Pretty close to 2-1 was Impel. To me, Impel was the more intriguing runner that I was a little bit surprised didn't attract favoritism. All that said, Candied runs fourth, the number 1 horse. Impel, the 7, runs third. Just FYI, I thought a good second for the first start back of the 3-year-old season. But Leslie's Rose, I had this one down in the 3rd spot. Good-looking runner for Todd Pletcher, having won the first 2 starts. Aqueduct last November, and then a first-level allowance at Gulfstream in January, and then went off as the 30-cent to $1 favorite in the Devona Dale, and ran third in there. And at 9-1, this horse was worth a look, certainly. The horse was 4-1 on the morning line. I had it in the 3rd spot, but you got $20 and change. This was a nice-looking performance for Leslie's Rose. Irad Ortiz on board, a Todd Pletcher runner, and again, sneaking away at 9-1. Number 3 horse wins, Again, just FYI, is the 6, Impels the 7. So the exacta here with Leslie's Rose, an interesting Pletcher horse over last year's 2-year-old champ. The exacta was $112, $113. So kind of a crazy result there, odds-wise. Funny race odds-wise, I guess. In a competitive field where you could have made a case for a few of these, but it just seems like that the betting public kind of was, I don't know, it seemed like a curious set of odds there for talented horses but that's part of what makes Keeneland fun. You get horses coming in from different venues, you get the top class runners, and you can get some results like this where horses that have some talent going out for top connections sneak away a little bit on the odds board. And that seemed to be the case Friday with the Ashland and Leslie's Rose. Also on the card, Friday, again, I say it all the time. Folks who watch know I love the 3-year-olds on the turf, and the Transylvania was 3-year-olds on the turf on Friday. Grade 3 event, $400,000. I like First World War in here. That one disappoints running 9th. The number 4 horse, Neat, for Rob Atras, was coming out of a win in the Texas Turf Mile at Sam Houston. I found that a strange spot, so I didn't really look at that one. But Rob Atras is having a phenomenal first quarter of 2024. And Neat is going to get it done under Raylu Gutierrez, upstate New York's own, from the Rochester area, started the career Finger Lakes, spent a little time at Saratoga. Last year, he was the leading rider at Fairgrounds. Not this season, but he did well down there. But Raylu is going to get the victory with a kind of a crafty ride. A little more of a trip, though, for the horse I had in the second spot, Shug-trained Cagino for West Point Thoroughbreds and Company. And you can see the West Point colors there. And it looks like Cagino having to work from the outside post position, the 12, man, looks like in a good spot here. But you can see Neat with a nice little ride up the rail is just going to stymie. Oh, that is a brutal beat for Cagino. Again, leaving from that outside post position, having to negotiate a trip. But Raylu Gutierrez on Neat gets it done. Cagino with Javier Castellano. Laganos runs third in the group. $28 and change for Neat. Cagino went off at 5-1 as looking third, fourth, about the fourth choice in there. But again, Neat will be one to look at going forward. This was the 4th career turf win in 5 turf starts, has started 6 times overall. But again, 4 for 5 on the turf for Neat. He'll be worth watching in this 3-year-old turf season, but Cagino as well. Cagino had only 3 starts coming in, a win and a couple of second place finishes, and now a win and 3 second place. And oof, that was brutal for Cagino, but a nice run. And again, Shug, West Point and Company have a nice little 3-year-old on the turf to look forward to, certainly, as do the connections of Neat. And again, Rob Atras, just a crazy good season so far. All right, and got one more stake to look at from Friday down at the fair, down at Keeneland. The Lafayette, $400,000, 7 furlongs the trip for the 3-year-olds. I went with Doncho. Doncho was the second choice at 3-2. The 6-5 favorite was Booth. They are 4th and 5th in here, as it is Glenn Gary getting it done. Glenn Gary's going to be the number 6 horse. Hadn't been seen since running second in the Springboard Mile. And I said on Friday as I handicapped this race, the Springboard Mile to me has been a mixed bag with some nice horses coming out and then some horses who looked like they'd have potential, didn't quite live up to that. But Glengarry certainly living up to the close-up second in the Springboard Mile. Now, before the Springboard Mile, he'd won a stake here at Keeneland last October. So he'd already shown some quality. This was the 3-year-old debut, gets it done. And in the 3-year-old debut, that's a pretty nice win. 3.5 lengths on the chart. Houday runs second. Frosty Indulgence runs third. But again, in that subdivision of the 3-year-old sprinters, Glengarry, I think, is one to watch. And you would think that's their game. And yes, still lightly raced, and it's hard to say. They did try the mile in the Springboard Mile and just missed there. So it wouldn't shock me to see them stretch this one out. But so far, the first 5 starts of the career, 3 times at 6 furlongs a mile, and they debut as a 3-year-old at the 7 furlongs. So it wouldn't shock me to see them stretch out and give that a try. But certainly they have what looks like a bona fide sprinter going forward. If that's how they elect to play it. All right, we'll come back. A couple of races to look at also yesterday from Santa Anita, the Oaks and the Derby out in Southern California. We'll take a look at those right after this. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
There's no better place to enjoy horse racing action than the Capital OTB Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany, just minutes off of I-90. The Clubhouse Racebook features over 200 flat-screen TVs, bringing you racing action from across the country, plus all the major sporting events. Racing info, tip sheets, promotions and events, track odds, plenty of parking, and a full bar and restaurant. Stop by today. Capital OTB's Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Santa Anita races, as I say, the Derby and the Oaks. Derby yesterday. Favorite was Imagination from Bob Baffert. Came in with 2 wins, 3 seconds, and 5 starts. And one of those wins was in the San Felipe last time. On the buyer numbers, looked to have the edge. Stronghold, though, was right in the ballpark. Stronghold going out for Phil D'Amato. Had come out of a nice win in the Sunland Derby to start the 3-year-old season. How would that Sunland form translate back to Southern California? The horse had run well in Southern California as a 2-year-old and had a win at Churchill in October. And I continue to say it. The 2-year-old races in the fall down at Churchill, maidens, first level, stakes races, they're productive. But coming out of the Sunland Derby winner, it's going to be the number 3 Stronghold. He eventually gets it done. This is a nice battle, though. He gets up and engages Imagination. Imagination, the favorite at even money. Stronghold second choice at 2-1. And Imagination does not give up. And it winds up to be a neck decision. So Stronghold heads on to the Kentucky Derby first grade 1 victory for the owners, and I believe, it's homebred. So they were saw them in the winner's circle. Obviously, they were very excited, and they head to the Derby. But you get your first grade 1 winner. It's the Santa Anita Derby, and you're going to the Kentucky Derby. That's very exciting. Also very exciting for the jockey Antonio Fresu, who spent the early portion of the career in Europe, spent a lot of time in Dubai, and so had some dirt racing experience in Dubai, and then got reached out to, I think it was Doug O'Neill maybe, and the current agent for the Jack reached out and said, come on over and try America. And so he came here, I want to say the spring of last year, and has had a pretty good career out there in Southern California, but puts his first United States grade 1 on his resume. So he was clearly very excited as well. And, again, not only puts the first, but you'd have to think he's heading to the Kentucky Derby himself. So it was a nice win yesterday for a Stronghold. And I do have buyers for Santa. This is an 89. 89 buyer for Stronghold. So ties his lifetime best buyer. So he's now strung a couple of 89s together. And 89, it's not spectacular, but this year, and, again, these horses, only 6 starts. You can always move forward. Nobody's, and again, I'll be interested to see what Sierra Leone did yesterday, but nobody is really knocking it out of the park necessarily consistently with buyers. So we shall see. And on the Santa Anita Oaks side of things, this one was also a little bit interesting in that the aforementioned, I talked about Kinza a little bit earlier, undefeated in 3 starts for Bob Baffert, and Kinza yesterday went off at 1-2 in a 5-horse Santa Anita Oaks field. But oof, Nothing Like You gets it done. The other Bob Baffert, Kinza, the number 2 horse, goes off at 1-2. Nothing Like You goes off at 7-1 for Baffert and wins for fun in here with a 91 buyer. That buyer is a significant jump up from the lifetime best prior of 79. She just had a breakthrough performance yesterday. Nothing Like You in the Santa Anita Oaks. And again, the very talented Kinza winds up a well-beaten second in there. And again, they're both Bob Baffert runners, so Kentucky Oaks not on the agenda, but we will see what they do going forward, certainly. But you could see him raise his hand in victory on board. I have to mention the day yesterday for Frankie Dettori. This was someday for Mr. Dettori. He started in race number 2. He won that one. He won race number 3, race number 4, race number 5, race number 6, and race number 7. A couple of those were stakes races, including the Santa Anita Oaks. He won an earlier stake. But get this. So Frankie Dettori not only wins 6, he wins 6 in a row at Santa Anita yesterday. First one pays $6. It was 6 furlongs on the dirt. Second one pays $18, 6 furlongs on the turf. Third one pays $21, 6.5 furlong stakes race. The fourth one pays $15. He wins it for Rick Dutrow going a mile on the turf. Then he wins the Santa Anita Oaks at $16. And at $10, it was this horse was the favorite, but at $10, he wins a mile on the turf in the 6th of his 6-day victory. So they, other than one of them, they were all double-digit winners for Frankie Dettori. 6 straight winners yesterday for 5 different trainers. And as I say, a multitude of situations, distance and turf, and a couple of stakes races as well. Just, here's the guy who announced his retirement and then kind of thought, maybe not. Maybe I'll go spend the winter in Southern California. And on their big day, he wins 6 straight. So good decision on the hold off on the gold watch, Mr. Dettori. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, plenty of stakes action took us through the morning here on Racing Across America, but we'll be back in an hour and a half or so to kick things off for the afternoon. I'm going to take a look at a little Aqueduct and some Keeneland on this Sunday afternoon when we come back with OTB Live. Do want to alert you some of the things that are coming up this coming week, however. Thursday through Sunday, you can come here, watch the Masters on our sports TVs at the far side of the room. So come on down, watch all the golfing action. That's always fun. But also we'll randomly be selecting people, put your name in the bin, and we will randomly select folks to step up to our little putting green, and you get a chance to putt for some prizes. And it's always a lot of fun to see people putt. And some of them barely make it halfway to the hole. Some of them shoot off the back of the green, but plenty go in for prizes. And I think everybody gets a couple of putts too. So you get you get one, and if you're short or long, you can moderate with your next putt. But come on down, and as I say, it's always a lot of fun. Thursday through next Sunday here at the Clubhouse Racebook, pick and putt for the dough here at the Racebook. On Friday, there's going to be a $150 Pick 5 bankroll, cross-country Pick 5. It's going to be an online bankroll team. We'll select the team from online entries, and the entries are going to open up this coming Wednesday at 2 p.m. So keep that in mind. You can go to the website and go to the promotions link. I'll be on Wednesday afternoon. I'll remind people of that as well. But keep that in mind. The team will get randomly selected from that group of people who enter Wednesday through, I think, Thursday at some point. We will close. You'll have plenty of time to enter, though. Next Saturday here at the Clubhouse Racebook, there's a match bet promotion, so keep that in mind. Going forward, plenty of fun events. The Bounty Bet is going to return to Aqueduct Friday the 19th. Saturday the 20th, there's a Fan Appreciation Day out Utica area at Cleats, so it'll be fun to swing out there. Also, a win-a-bet contest here, double promo on Friday here at the Friday the 26th here at the Racebook, a knockout challenge coming up a few Saturdays down the road. So looks like it's going to be a lot of fun with the promotions and events here at Capital OTB, and you can always keep up with those by checking out the website, capitalotb.com. All right, Seth Merrow wrapping it up for a Sunday morning. It's been fun after a really fun Saturday. And thanks to the folks out at the Woodlawn branch. We were out there yesterday with a live remote contest and some food and fun. There was a nice crowd out there. Said hello to a lot of folks. Oh, and I wanted to say hello to Mary. Mary's husband stopped by and said Mary's a fan of the show. So I said, well, I'll give her a shout out tomorrow. So yeah, thanks to Mary for watching, and thanks to all of you for watching. And keep tuned in, because as I say, we'll be back in an hour and a half or so with OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon with some Keeneland in the mix. The first couple of days of Keeneland, I think, have been fun. I would expect more of the same today. I'm just looking up at my monitor to check weather-wise. Looks like it's a nice day at Keeneland. I think it's been chilly there. And the first day, there was some kind of precipitation, not huge, but but yesterday was a nice day, but I think a little bit chilly. It's hard to look up and tell the temperature, but it does look like the sun's out at Keeneland in the paddock from the shot I'm seeing. So knock wood, we'll hope for the best weather-wise at the various tracks we're looking at this afternoon. So again, wrapping it up for Sunday morning. Seth Merrow in the studio. Really appreciate your tuning in. We'll see you back here in an hour and a half or so. OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. See you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.